See, imagine this: Todd, the office tech guy known for his uncanny ability to crash computers with a single keystroke, has just been promoted to head of IT. Why? Because, as management eloquently put it, nobody else wanted the job. Sound familiar? This, my friends, is the essence of the Dilbert Principle in all its absurd glory. This principle, which I humbly brought into the world through my Dilbert comic strip, isn't just about incompetent people getting promoted. It's a satirical yet insightful commentary on how organizations often make decisions based on flawed logic, leading to outcomes that are both hilarious and sadly predictable. In the following sections, we'll unpack this principle further, exploring its continued relevance in today's workplace and how understanding it can be your secret weapon to navigating the often baffling world of office dynamics. Get ready to laugh, cringe, and maybe even see a little bit of your own workplace in the process. The Dilbert Principle, simply put, states that companies tend to promote incompetent employees to management to get them out of the workflow. The logic, flawed as it may seem, goes something like this. If someone is terrible at their job, the best way to minimize the damage they inflict is to promote them to a position where they have less direct impact on the actual work being done. It's a classic case of out of sight, out of mind thinking, instead of addressing the root cause of the incompetence, be it lack of training, poor work ethic, or a fundamental misunderstanding of the job. Companies often choose the path of least resistance promotion. This, of course, leads to a whole new set of problems. Incompetent employees, now armed with even more power and responsibility, can wreak havoc on morale, productivity, and the overall sanity of the workplace. But here's the kicker: the Dilbert Principle isn't just about incompetence, it's a satirical lens through which we can examine the often absurd ways in which organizations operate. You might think that in today's world of data-driven decision-making and performance reviews, the Dilbert Principle would be a relic of the past. Sadly, that's not the case. While the workplace has evolved, human nature, it seems, hasn't quite caught up. The Dilbert Principle is alive and well, manifesting itself in various ways, from the baffling promotions of clearly unqualified individuals to the creation of pointless committees and initiatives designed to give the illusion of progress without actually achieving anything. Why does this happen? Well, for one, bad decisions are often easier to make than good ones. Confronting incompetence is uncomfortable. It requires difficult conversations, potential conflict, and the possibility of having to make tough decisions like demotion or termination. It's much easier and often less messy in the short term to simply shuffle the problem off to another department or promote the person into a role where they can do less damage. The problem, of course, is that this short term thinking often leads to long term consequences. Let's move away from hypothetical thoughts and talk about real life scenarios. Ever been in a meeting where someone suggests a solution so ludicrously out of touch that you're not sure whether to laugh or cry? Chances are you've witnessed the Dilbert Principle in action. Remember that time the company decided to implement a new software system that nobody understood and actually made everyone's jobs harder? Or how about the time they promoted the guy who couldn't meet a deadline to save his life to a management position where he's now responsible for setting deadlines for others? These are not just isolated incidents, they're symptoms of a deeper systemic issue. The Dilbert Principle thrives in environments where communication is poor, accountability is lacking, and critical thinking skills are in short supply. It's the reason why pointless meetings persist, why bad ideas never seem to die, and why you might sometimes feel like you're surrounded by people who are one step away from starring in their own workplace sitcom. Now, before you start thinking that the workplace is just one big, hopeless Dilbert cartoon, there's good news. Understanding the Dilbert Principle isn't about succumbing to cynicism, it's about empowering yourself. By recognizing the patterns of dysfunction that often plague organizations, you can start to navigate them more effectively. You can learn to identify the warning signs of bad decisions, advocate for more sensible solutions, and protect yourself from the fallout of poor management. More importantly, by understanding the Dilbert Principle, you can avoid becoming a victim of it. Strive for excellence in your own work, communicate clearly, and don't be afraid to challenge the status quo when it's clear that the emperor has no clothes. So the next time you find yourself in a situation that seems straight out of a Dilbert strip, take a moment to appreciate the absurdity of it all. Then take a deep breath, channel your inner Dilbert, and find a way to laugh at the madness. Or better yet, change it. What are your own experiences with the Dilbert principle? Share your stories and let's continue the conversation.